Welcome to our next show. Since they're tearing down the old Spanish Fork High Gym, we thought we'd get down here and get some shots before they do that. And so I wanted to get some special people as our guests. We got Michelle Boyack.
Love your shirt.
You bet. I brought it just because my daughter Jade was on the drill team. Super gal. Her hubby, Dave Boyack, and you know Rababa. So what we want to do with these two people right now is just get a memory or two from them, and then we'll keep moving around the building. So Michelle, when we talked yesterday, you said you got a special memory of the upper gym. Can you share that?
This is where I lived in all my teaching, and I loved this place. The big windows, we had lots of light. It used to have benches all around it where you could stand and see what was going on in the routines, or kids could sit. We had to fundraise for all those mirrors. We didn't have those at first, and we actually loved those mirrors. It's kind of helped to see your dances and see how you were doing. And that closet clear over there, it's shut right now. That was our favorite place. That's where we kept all the uniforms, and the girls would love to go in there and play dress up in the old clothes and old white boots and everything else. And it was a pretty cool closet. It also goes up to the roof, over the other side of the gym. And a few people did try doing that too, but lots of memories up here. Lots of great girls were on the drill team, and we had such a fun time and just loved hanging out in this upstairs gym. It was quiet, no one came and bugged us. Loved it.
How long did you teach?
Almost 30 years.
Almost 30.
Yep.
Wow.
Heck yeah.
Long time.
So
A lot of memories.
Sure appreciate your service. Dave, have you got a special memory up here?
So we were playing American Fork High School, and it was a real close game. They had a really good team. And the game came down to the final seconds. We put up a shot and missed it. And I don't remember if it was me or Steve Leifson, our former mayor, but one of us, I think it might have been Steve, tipped the missed shot in at the buzzer. So there was controversy as to whether he tipped it in time, but the officials ruled we did. And I don't know if you remember Coach Ingersoll from American Fork.
Yeah.
Rags, they called him. Carl Ingersoll. He went ballistic. And of course, our coach was Joel Gardner,
Right.
who was really good friends with Coach Ingersoll. So we kind of watched that play out. But yeah, we beat them on a buzzer beater down in the gym down below. And that's one of the memories I have of playing as a player down there. But then coaching also brought a lot of memories for me also, to work with Mike and just work with some great kids.
Okay.
Okay, that was a great memory right there.
You mentioned downstairs a minute ago, nicknames. Do you have a nickname?
As a coach?
Whatever.
No, the kids are pretty respectful. They just called us Coach Boyack. As a player, though, here, my nickname was Beak. I don't know if you remember that or not. Might have been given to me by your little brother.
Probably.
I don't know. Everybody had a nickname at Spanish Fork High School
That's true.
back then.
Yeah.
That's where you were.
That's
Goose,
right.
there still exists.
That's it.
But
yeah.
yeah, that was my nickname in high school. But the kids all referred to us as Coach.
Ooh.
Coach Boyack, Coach Gardner, Coach Boyack.
That's right.
They called her by. She had a nickname also with the girls. You want to tell
Someone over the years started Mish. And they'd all call me Mish. Don't know why. I think it was a Coil girl.
How many state titles did you win?
We never won state. We placed a lot of seconds
A lot of
in
seconds.
routines, but never won state.
Okay. Well.
A lot of regions. And that was a big deal. My brother asked me once, why was that a big deal? And because you did less routines.
Sure.
I mean, we did the same routines, but less teams were there. And I said, it's because we have the most supported region. We'd get the whole town there, and it was just so much fun to perform in front of them. And region was a big deal to us.
Beautiful. Well, we sure appreciate you guys and your service. You just retired, right?
4 days.
4 days.
And I've been retired for a while.
How many years for you, Dave?
Total with Needle, 29 years as the head track coach here at Spanish Fork High.
All right.
And cross country coach, and we won some titles. Had
Okay.
a great, fun career. And then I don't know if I should mention this because it's a Spanish Fork High thing,
Right.
but I've been at Maple Mountain for 15
Okay.
as the athletic director, and I'm done. Like I say, Thursday's kind of my officially last day, so I'm
That's where I ended my career. I subbed 2 down here in Nebo.
Yeah.
Taught 33 up in Granite School District.
I started in Granite. 3 years at Eisenhower.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ain't that something? Wow.
Junior high.
Yeah. So when I subbed for you,
Yeah,
that was the last time I taught PE in the
Sure.
public school.
sure.
So we have a lot in common,
Yep.
and we have a real close friendship, and we sure appreciate and love you guys.
Thank you. Thanks for all you do.
Good
Yep.
memories at this school. I'm a little bit sad it's going, but
It'll be
Yep.
hard.
great memories.
Okay, guys,
Okay.
we're going to let them get to their other responsibility. We're going to go downstairs and get some more guests. Okay, our first guest here, or our next guest, excuse me, is
I want to be first.
Vern Mills.
Hi, Goose.
Thanks for being here, buddy.
Thank you. I was on the basketball team that played the very first varsity game here in 1962. We played Jordan or Hillcrest. I remember quite which one. And we really had a good team. And coming from the old high school, this was so big and awesome because we were playing in that other gym. And I'll never forget the feeling coming in here for the first time. I mean, it was packed. Back in those days, I guess we were the only show in town because people came in and just packed this place constantly. It was so loud you couldn't even hear the coaches talking or anything all the way up there. But that was really an awesome experience for that. Another experience I had in this gym, maybe you'd not want this, but I was the class president that year, and we had our class, what do you call it, graduation year.
Okay.
And so in this gym, I had to give a talk, which I hate, but I had to give a talk. in this.
Oh,
And then this up in here, we didn't have the auditorium yet, and all of our assemblies were up there, and the thespian classes, they put their programs and things up there. But I just, gym's still brand new to me, so I'm thankful for the opportunity to be in here.
well,
And another thing, the thing that I remember the most is the relationships I had with everybody, all my teammates and stuff. More than half of them are passed on by now, but this guy's and Greg's dad was an awesome friend.
still is.
Really is. And
We can't see, but
Yeah.
Grandpa Don's still a great guy.
I love that guy and appreciated him. And I got a story about you. Do you want it now or later?
Go ahead.
Okay, we didn't have a football field. We still had to practice down on the old football field.
Oh, yeah.
But we dressed, put our uniforms and stuff here, then walked all the way down to the old high school and practiced in that. And then our games were played on the baseball field. But every once in a while, from our hike from here to the practice field, we'd seen this young kid named George Beardall. And he was in this guy, and I think it was, they were fighting every other day, fist fighting. And the whole football team would watch around and watch this guy beat up on that guy. I'll never forget that. Would always be late at practice because we was watching George fight. I had to tell you that.
Well, what I had to whoop this kid 3 times before he got smart. So that's why Vern and them guys see me there so much. Because he thought I got lucky the first 2 times. It took 3 times for him to leave me alone. So. All right, we're going to get to this guy right here, one of the best all-around athletes to ever come out of this town. And that's not because he's my brother. That's a fact. One of the best all-around athletes to ever come out of this town.
Yep, I can testify to that too.
Yep.
Football, baseball, basketball.
Well, he's bragging me up. I'm going to brag up another guy. The best all-around athlete I ever seen was Jack Sheen. Anything he touched, he was good at. Tennis or anything. But anyway, my memory about this gymnasium goes back to 1968. They was rated #1 all year long. The best team to ever come out of Spanish Fork in basketball. That was Mike Atwood, that was Gary Norman, Mike Holt, Jack Sheen, Gary Beckstrom. That was the starting lineup. They had Chuck Patterson on the bench. They had Craig Swenson on the bench. They had Dwayne Dudley on the bench.
Tim Breathwaite.
Tim Breathwaite. I watched a lot of games in 1968 because this gym was crazy. But what happened is they got the big head, went up to the state playoffs and got beat by Viewmont. By Viewmont, John Johnston.
I remember it well.
And Atwood fouled out, and I think Sheen fouled out. But they got beat about 15 points. But they was rated #1 all year long and was expected to win the whole thing, but they never did. And another thing is when Vern mentioned that this school was built in 1962, well, there was a guy by the name of Jack Swenson that I played for 4 years, and Mike Gardner did too. He would bring us to baseball practice. Now you got to remember, Jack had a lot of patience. He was watching Curtis and Clark and Russell. At that time, I think Russell was probably about 2. And the funny thing about Russell was that, and I never thought about this until after the years, was he'd say, "Beer dog." "Hello, beer dog." Now, I couldn't figure out what the heck he would say. He couldn't say beer doll. And it was beer dog.
Beer dog.
You know, it kind of breaks your heart now. But anyway, I thought about that, but Jack worked that into his favor. He had all these kids on Little League Baseball after practice. He was the director for the swimming pool when it opened. That means taking tests on it and everything and running that. So he'd have his baseball players deliver flyers about when they was going to open and when specials were and all that. So it worked out for him. We'd just go all the way down one street and turn around and come back down the other. I think Mike was in on that a few times.
No.
But he got out. He got out because he had to go farming.
That's right. I was a working man.
But that's about all I got to say. But my talent comes from this guy here.
Our next guest is Mike Gardner. You coached down here how many years?
I was the head coach for 17, then an assistant for another 5 or 6.
You have a special memory of this place?
Goose, I probably have too many special memories, you know, really. There's a lot of game memories. Beating Springville back in the day when they had the 7-foot shirtlift kid.
Oh, yeah.
And they were ranked nationally. And we set up a play, and Lowell Fraser was the second option. And he caught a lob and put it back up and beat it at the buzzer.
Ooh.
So that was a nice one. I mean, a few years ago when I was assistant, Zach Clayton hit one right over here where Travis is standing
Okay.
to beat Lone Peak. And they were ranked either first in the nation or second. And that was an awesome one. I think probably more than anything else, my memories with the players and the kids.
Your relationships.
Yeah, my assistant coaches, my stat people, was just great memories. My wife Shauna was the great supporter, never missed a game, but after school, she would bring the kids down here and kind of turn them loose, and they would go upstairs up here, and who knows what kind of trouble they got into. It's been a big part of my life. Yeah, it really has, and I cherish each and all of it. I miss the games. I miss having this place packed, crazy like, and the rowdies over there, and everybody screaming and yelling. And that was the great thing, because when I screamed and yelled, they couldn't hear me. The fans couldn't, because They were so
spectators?
loud. So I liked that.
Okay.
Another little story here. I remember when I was coaching Randy Reed, and we were playing Carbon, and Darryl Stewart from Payson was their coach, a good friend of mine. And he would get a little excited at times himself. And I was standing up about right here, and he was standing up, and Randy caught the ball in the corner down there, stepped backwards, clearly stepped out of bounds. Stepped forward, shot it, buried a three-pointer, and Darryl went berserk. He went crazy. And I just laughed. I just laughed. It was funny, and he was a great guy.
So the refs counted it?
Oh yeah, they didn't call him out of bounds. They counted it, so it was great.
And Payson games were pretty good too.
Oh yeah.
With Robbie and Randy. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well,
were
we
good
had a
games.
Payson game here with Robbie and Phil DeGraffenried.
Yeah.
And it was like one-on-one the whole night.
Right.
And I think they each scored like 44 apiece.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much back and forth, and who could take who at the time. And so, yep, had the opportunity to coach a lot of great players.
Yep.
Win a lot of games in this gym. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, this guy right here, we had him playing on our softball team, Goose and the Wild, playing third base. Got a real good quick glove, good quick hands, and worked at MVP all them years. Now he's in Sandy Quinn.
Yep.
Him and Ringer got their own business. But you spent a lot of time in that little cubby hole up there.
Isn't it gorgeous? It looks the same now as it did when I was in high school.
Have you got a special memory or memories?
Well, I did until Coach Gardner had to steal it from me. It was
Okay.
that Zach Clayton 3 that was hit from right there over that Lone Peak team. But the call of it is what made it great. It was myself and Mayor Mendenhall on color, and they were playing a team full of Division I college talent. Tyler Hawes being one of them, most people are familiar of. But that 3 that was hit by Clayton sent myself and Mayor Mendenhall completely berserk up in that crow's nest, and I'm surprised it's still attached.
Wow.
As before. Here's Naulu, you gotta hurry, 2 seconds to Clayton, 3 ball, yes! You gotta be kidding me! You gotta be kidding me! Huge 3 by Zach! Here's Naulu, you gotta hurry, 2 seconds to Clayton, 3 ball, yes! You gotta be kidding me! You gotta be kidding me! Huge 3 by Zach Clayton! Holy cow!
But yeah, that was probably my best memory as far as that goes. But there's been so many poor games in this gym also that those ones you just forget.
Yeah.
But that being said, you know, there's you know, interestingly enough, to see the evolution of the fan base and the student participation here in the gym has probably been the most interesting thing to me. Everything being said, just as a fan, even growing up, my dad would bring me here to watch Coach Gardner with the Reed brothers growing up, and of course I never played at the high school level, basketball or any of that stuff, but my involvement with SFCN Channel 17 began the first year they decided they were going to start covering sports.
Okay.
And Coach Gardner, I believe, referred myself and his nephew Darren Reed to announce some games, and so they had us kind of do a rehearsal of sorts. They gave us a game they recorded and had us announce at the studio, and then after that in 2002 we just started doing basically almost every game out of here, and it was fun, and it's been really fun watching Channel 17 in particular evolve.
Yeah. And how'd you feel when they changed the name of the gym to the La Hacienda?
Well, I mean, it's been through a few different quote-unquote names. Of course, some of us remember the Dawn Dome.
That's it.
You know, this is one of the few detached gyms that there are in the state. So it kind of could have its own name, but Coach, I think Kunzler came up with La Hacienda.
Okay.
And it's a fun word to say. And if you hear me announce a basketball game from in here, I really like to get into the pronunciation of that word.
Okay.
Because it's just fun.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah.
We sure appreciate you.
Yeah, it's been fun, and the memories here will always stick with me.
Oh, yeah, they
As
can't
I'm
take
sure with all of these.
They'll knock this building down, but they can't knock these out.
No.
Yep.
That's a good thing.
Love you, man.
Okay, thanks, Goose.
Good timing. We got the two wrestling. Okay.
You got the legend?
Oh, yeah. Okay, you ready, Al?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, our next guest, man. He is a legend around here. Wrestling coach, college wrestler, and he announced the matches.
And the football games.
And the football games.
When Spanish Fork started, yeah.
Okay. We got Alan Albright. Do you have a special memory of this place?
Well, I'll tell you one of the funnest things. I actually have a picture from that time. This is 47 years old picture. This is Ron Hansen.
Oh, I remember Ron Hansen.
We set up a professional wrestling match for an assembly. They said when I came in the first year, they said if you win so many matches, we'll buy you a new wrestling mat. Well, we did, and he finished so high in the state we would. So I got a new wrestling mat. So we had gotten a ladder, and we had dropped an egg from 10 feet to let it land on the mat to show it wouldn't break.
Oh.
And it didn't.
It didn't?
No. Because that's the way those things. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And then we cracked. No, we cracked it open afterwards to show them. When I first came, wrestling wasn't that popular, so it was trying to get people involved and get excited. So we had a professional wrestling match. Now what's interesting, because you couldn't do it today, Scott Graff was the other one. Scott Graff and Ron Hansen put it up. Well, they walk in with Scott Graff, and he walked in with guys in armor gear and everything else, and they were holding shotguns.
Really?
And when Scott said a certain word, they all cocked the shotguns at the same time. You couldn't do that now.
Wow, imagine that, Adam.
And then we had this professional wrestling match. We end up, and I don't know if you can really see on here, but the guys, what happened is at the end, as our hero wins, he takes the jock strap and pulls it over the guy's ankles, pulls his both legs up and puts the jock strap over the ankle.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of these kids wouldn't even know what a jock strap is.
That's true.
So that's how the match ended, and then they carried him out and everything. And it was a very successful, one of the best assemblies we've had and stuff. And so it was a lot of fun. And of course, the times we beat PG in this gym, beating them all the time. You got to know that Delroy Anderson, I don't know how many people remember Delroy Anderson, but he was one of my best friends, and I talked him into coaching wrestling with me, so I could get the football players out and stuff, and then I helped him in football, and I always said you can't have a circus without animals. So, we would, and Ron was a football player that we had talked into wrestling as a junior.
All right.
And then he ended up, taking second state, and then years later he ended up wrestling for BYU, and So we had a lot of good wrestlers. My goal was to get college kids into college wrestling, and we did. We had Fred Allen, was a WAC champ. We had John Allen, who also passed. You know, and John passed away this year.
Yeah.
And John was a great wrestler for BYU and did a great job for us and stuff. And so we had a lot of kids going over, and you know, that was my dream, have these kids wrestle in college. So.
How about this guy sitting behind you? Was he any good?
Yeah, Lane Shepard was a state champ for me. He was on our state championship team in 1984. And
Stand up here, Laner.
Yeah. I had to keep an eye on him and his brother because they were pretty rambunctious, both of them.
I don't think we want to get into those stories.
But Lane had done a great, and he's, you know, been very close to me all these years, and we've been friends, and that's what it's all about. And I think that's what Mike's talking about with coaching the kids. These kids,
the relationship,
end up being your best friends throughout your life. My coaches I had in high school are my best friends.
We have Lane Shepard here. I've coached a ton of Shepards, probably 8 or 9, and their cousins and all that. You can't beat the Shepards.
You can't beat the Goose coaching the Pony League Mets back in the day either.
Thanks, bud. I sure appreciate that.
Yeah, probably one of the funnest memories I had from high school athletics was in rodeo. It was in high school rodeo, and I was riding bulls, and I wasn't supposed to, because Shoe outlawed us from rodeoing during baseball season, so I was kind of sneaking it in on the side, and it was our home rodeo at the fairgrounds here, our high school's rodeo. And I drew this bull, and so I got my rope on. You get your rope on the bull behind the chutes.
Right.
Then they run it up into the chutes and you get on.
Okay.
Well, I get my rope on this bull, and when they're running him into the chute at the fairgrounds, there was a cement catwalk that went across the runway alley. This bull jumped up and hit that, and it killed him dead.
Oh, wow.
Right there. So they pulled a tractor out in the arena and drug the dead bull out and whatnot, and so I got a re-ride bull, a little black bull named Crazy 8, a little flat spinning bull, and I got on him. What's that?
He died too?
No, he didn't die, but I rode him, and I rode all 8 seconds, and I ended up winning our home rodeo, and that was one of the funnest things I think I ever did in high school.
I worked with Lane's mother, went to school, all through school with her, and we worked at the post office together. And would be up there sorting mail, and she would get these calls all the time for Lane and Brent. And accidentally, one time, drink machines got pushed in the swimming pool.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and
Wow.
and accidentally, somehow I ended up in the swimming pool, and I was working with her mom, and boy, she was upset. But it was an accident, I'm sure, Lane.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a memory that I've tried to forget, but it gets brought up every single year in class, multiple times by students from their uncles or grandparents or whatever. The one thing I remember about that is the gym classes use the swimming pool out here.
Exactly.
And so there was a Coke machine that ended up in it that one night. And so we went to football practice the next week. And Coach Clark was the football coach. He was the gym teacher too, and that's what he was doing with all his classes. So he was pretty upset about the pool. And so he was telling us all at practice, hey, we've got to lift that out of the pool. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, there's no way. Trust me, there's no way we're getting that out of the pool without a crane.
Wow.
Goose, I should mention too, because some people enjoy this because of Payson, but his senior year, we're wrestling Payson as our last duel. And they had a pretty good team. We were good. I knew we were going to beat them, but how bad, what was going to be the score? I figured, you know, because some matches were going to be really tough. Well, Payson decided to put all over these guys' car how they're going to come and kick our fannies with a little more language than that.
Okay.
And everything else. We didn't lose a match against Payson that night. There was no way that was going to happen like that. This was the wrong group of kids to do something like that too. Do you remember that?
Yeah, we weren't afraid of a challenge.
And I told the coach, I said, I didn't know how I was going to get these guys up because I knew we'd beat you, but I didn't. He goes, my guys are so stupid and everything else. It was crazy, but yeah, that was a neat night. And that was here. We did it here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I should mention too that your dad, Don Beardall, loved Spanish Fork sports, and he took us everywhere. And when we won the state, there was nobody happier than your dad.
That's it.
Isn't that right? You know,
Oh,
Don.
yeah.
We loved Don, and he loved all the Spanish Fork sports. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, they don't come any better than Grandpa Don. They don't. We've saved the best for last.
Hey, if that's the truth,
This is Emily Gardner Davies.
Do we want to talk about how you cornered me in my beauty salon
Okay.
about being here today?
Okay. Anyway, we got some fond memories. Of her dad.
We weren't supposed to cry.
Larry Moochie Gardner. We had the best team, fast pitch team in 1979. He was our shortstop. And they don't come much better than Moochie Gardner. So we just appreciate the team. Like my brother Craig, he was our catcher. He'd catch 5 games a day in a tournament. Unbelievable. Him and Rod Cloward, wow, 2 best catchers I've ever seen. And so
1979 was the year I was born. So he was probably out on the ball field while my mom was in the hospital.
okay. Wow. Wow.
Probably.
So share that down there where how I cornered you.
So we came in the beauty salon where he gets his hair cut. He said, we're doing the show and we want you to come share some memories. And I said, I don't really have very many memories. So I said, no, I don't want to do it. But then he left and I got thinking, I have so many memories of here. Like, this is where I was raised. This is where we would come down to ball games for the old man basketball that Dad and
Yep, stylistic.
not stylistic. Yep, that's what we
That
did.
was our sponsor.
So we'd bring our own basketball and we'd dribble up and down the hallways, just waiting for a timeout or a halftime to get out here and shoot. We'd look at all the trophies in the trophy cases and just, this was our life. We would come watch Uncle Mike's basketball team and my cousins, the Reeds and the Gardner boys play basketball. And yeah, just run under the wood bleachers and
Oh,
so those are my
right.
memories.
They used to be wood bleachers. That's right.
The
I
wood
forgot
bleachers.
about them being wood.
And I'll never forget the distinct smell as soon as you open the door coming in the gym. I think that's probably what I'll miss the most, having a new gym.
And this gal, heck of an athlete herself, volleyball player,
Volleyball, basketball.
softball player. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And what was your position on the volleyball team?
So I kind of played it all. I didn't really have a position. By the time I was senior year, I ended up just playing back row and playing defensive specialist.
Okay.
There were way better jumpers on the team, so I said, I think you should play those other people and not me.
And they didn't have the libero.
They didn't have libero yet, but Yep, defensive specialist. Was what
Yeah, I up at Westlake Junior High. I coached boys volleyball for 28 years.
That's a long time.
So I know where you're coming from, and I have a deep respect for volleyball players.
My dad made me play junior jazz with the boys one year. They did have girls team, but he made me play with the boys one year. And then they did a thing that they called the milk sure shot. Does anybody remember the milk sure shot? Alan, do you remember that, Mike? So it was a Utah Jazz thing where you would compete and you had like 30 seconds to get a certain amount of shots and make them. You had to make them all, and then like the fastest time would move on to the next level. So I won here, and then I went up to Salt Lake somewhere, won it there, and then we got to go to the Utah Jazz game and do that at halftime. So Brad Hells was another kid from around here. You guys know Brad?
Sure.
So we went up the same night and we did the milk sure shot at halftime at the Jazz game.
Huh.
Yeah. So
Cool.
it
That's the
was
first
a
I've
cool
heard of
experience.
milk sure.
But it all started here in this gym and playing here, growing up. I lived here.
We just met this gal. And I know one thing, she's got a great first name. Her name's Valerie, and that's my precious wife's first name as well. So that means a lot to me.
It's good.
This is Valerie Benson. She's the volleyball coach this year. And how many years before that?
So I've coached for 5 years the girls. I've just actually handed off the girls. Boys volleyball just got sanctioned this season.
That's right.
So I made the switch over to boys.
Oh.
So I've been really working hard the past 5 years to grow a team and be ready for it. We were anticipating it getting sanctioned, and so when they wanted me to coach girls, one of the things that I kind of a stipulation was that if they would give me some support to start a boys team. So we started the team as a club team.
That's what?
Yeah, so we started as a club team, and that first year that I started coaching girls, Matt was like, "Sure, we'll let you go ahead and start doing a club team for boys." And in those 5 years, we've got some boys that have been willing to play, and this was our very first season. So it was a last for this gym, but a first for boys volleyball. So it's been quite an experience.
Volleyball players.
They are. I've got a couple basketball players that came and played with us this year, and
Believe it or not, Wilt Chamberlain, after he retired, still played competitive
volleyball. It's a good crossover. It's a great crossover for those basketball players. So
Yeah, I'm just thinking a woman coaching the boys.
is there something wrong with that?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Look right in the camera.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of guys out there that think a woman can't get the job done.
We get the job done. We definitely get the job done. Yeah.
Third place. Baby.
Third place in state.
Well,
on
Yeah,
Saturday.
she got the job done.
Yeah.
Third place.
Yeah.
She got the job done.
Hey,
Yep.
that's
There's
what
no
I'm
question.
saying, guys.
Yep. That's what we did.
That's what I mean. We're trying
Yep.
to get more respect for the women.
That's right.
They not only can cook and have babies,
We cook it up on the court too.
but you
That's
can
fine.
coach and you can play.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have a special memory?
I feel like my memories are kind of all jumbled together because I played here as a Dawn when I went to high school. So I played 92 to 95, 94 because we were in the fall. But I played volleyball here when there was a legacy of volleyball here. We had taken state multiple years.
Wendy
Weaver was my coach.
Okay.
Yep, she was a huge influence in my life, and we were good. We had some great players, and you're talking about Jack Sheen. His daughter Jody Sheen was probably one of the best setters I've ever seen in my life.
In fact, she got Player of the Year.
Yeah, she led that state championship team all the way through. So she's a huge memory for me and an influence to me as Jody coming in and she was a senior and I was a sophomore, so she was a little bit older and looking up to her and trying to play with her. So having Wendy and all the practices in here, and the ceiling was different with the
You're right.
with the white. Every time we'd hit the ball too high, white flakes would fly
That's
down.
It. That's it. The ceiling tile.
And it smelled like chlorine, and we'd after practice jump in the pool. It's just, it's changed a lot here, but at the same time, then coming back and coaching and trying to establish that same tradition and winning culture and that type of thing here at Spanish Fork. And I just think for it to come full circle this year, for me anyway, our very last game in this gym with the boys, so just a few weeks ago, it's our first season, but the last time we're going to play in this gym, and the official that walks in to be the official for our game was Wendy Weaver.
Oh, wow.
And it was just a fluke thing. She just got scheduled for this game, and it was just a really neat experience to have her back in the gym. At that time, boys is sanctioned. We've just come so far in what volleyball has become in this state. So anyway, that was just a really neat experience to have her officiating that game for us. So
that reminded me. They were holding a camp up at Diamond Fork Junior High.
Mm-hmm.
Carl McGowan.
Oh yeah.
BYU,
I have a story about him.
One of the best ever. And I'm up there picking up some tips and some drills for my team up at Westlake Junior High. And he come over and he introduced himself, and I introduced myself. And he said, "What are you doing here?" I says, "I'm trying to pick up some new tips, some new warm-ups, some new things for my team." He says, "Okay, that's fine." And then he went over to the board and he wrote some things down. Then he came back and he said, "Next time you come to one of my camps, you better have a notebook and a pencil, because you can't remember every drill and everything I say." So I learned a lesson that day. Bring a little notebook and a pencil at Carl McGowan's camp.
Yep, that's right. Well, I have a little story. Wendy would bring him in every year, right? We had our summer camp every year with Carl McGowan, and he absolutely refused to learn my name. And every time he would talk to me or say something, he said, "You're the one with the meaty legs. The meaty legs, come over here." And he would not remember my name. So I hated Carl McGowan camp. I didn't like him at all. And I didn't enjoy being called the girl with the meaty legs.
Never that.
No.
Wow.
No, I didn't like that much. So anyway, so that's my memory of Carl McGowan too.
Well, we appreciate you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being on our show. What is that?
They put a combo of all the state championships for wrestling.
Oh.
I just got that.
Look at that. Wow.
It's got name on the side.
Yeah, there's All Bright right there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is something else, buddy.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Okay, guys, our next guest is a real good guy. We'll start with that. Real good guy. You coached how many years down here?
I coached head coach for 9 years, and I was an assistant coach for 2 years, so a total of 11 years at Spanish Fork High School.
Okay, this is.
But I've been involved in the program all my life because of my dad.
That's it. Well, it's Casey. Most people don't know him by Casey. They know him by Gub Nelson. Am I right?
That is correct, yep.
And how did you get that nickname?
My dad, well, first off, we're a family of nicknames. So obviously Coach Shoe, kids started calling him Jim Shoe back in the day. Then White's obviously with the pure white hair when he was little. And then he's a left-handed pitcher, Whitey Ford. So my dad just started calling him Whites. And then there's me, Gub. I'm a Cubs fan, and my dad just started calling me Gub. Just one random day started calling me Gub. And I guess there used to be an older gentleman in Spanish Fork named Gub, and my dad kind of remembered that as well. Yeah, so and, just a family of nicknames.
And what about Slummer?
Yeah, I got Slummer Richard. His isn't known as much, but then we got Butch too, Hayden Nelson, White's boy.
That's right.
Yeah, so unique.
Yeah, we earlier with the guests we talked about nicknames, and and back in the day, if you had a nickname, that was something else.
Yes. Yep.
Coach Gus Black, in 1964, I made the basketball team, and he called a Saturday practice. The only one he ever called. Well, I had a goose hunting trip planned. So when I got back on Monday, he says, well, we missed you on Saturday. Where were you? And I said, well, I went goose hunting. And he kind of chuckled, and he says, well, what's more important? Basketball or goose hunting?
Yeah.
I said, well, at the time, goose hunting.
Absolutely.
And that's what he did. He said, well, we'll have to start calling you Goose then.
I like that.
That was 1964.
That's a great story. And there's something about coaches with nicknames that they have for players, and a term of endearment, and it's something coaches have a unique thing of doing.
Exactly.
Yep.
And especially another one, Coach. I found out if people call you Coach, that's with respect.
Yeah.
And I don't see a lot of respect these days with the kids. So when the kids call me Coach that I had years ago, that means a lot to me.
Absolutely, yep.
You feel the same way?
Absolutely, 100%. Yep. That's what everybody knows me by is Coach Gub. Not Mr. Nelson or anything, Coach Gub.
Exactly.
It's great.
I know when the weather was bad and cold, you would hold tryouts in the gym. You hit ground balls off the wood floor.
Yeah.
And have you got a memory there?
I do have a memory, especially as a coach. As a player, yes, I do remember that when my dad was the head coach, and I hated those days more than anything. I'm like, baseball's not meant to play in a gym, and we'd probably get more done just by canceling practice, but my dad wasn't one of those guys.
Okay.
Luckily, I did whatever we could. If we could not go outside, then I kind of looked at it as a day as just kind of an off day of canceling practice, because there's not much you can do in the gym to play baseball. Luckily, we have the ALC in the district. Last couple of years, we were able to go in the ALC over in Salem on bad days.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, yep.
See, so that's a memory of mine. Tryouts in the gym.
Yep.
And you're right, I'm an outdoor guy. Wow. Boy, you can tell it's the end of school.
It is the end of school, absolutely. Got a bunch of squirrels out here.
Well, I like that. Squirrels.
Yeah, herding sheep.
We were looking at the awards in there. I see my son's name.
Yeah.
Wow. Let me rephrase that. I see our son there, my wife and I's son. And a memory there I have in 1986, the Daily Herald put out all the batting averages from 6A to 1A. He led the whole state in hitting that year, with a .571 batting average.
That's awesome. That's unbelievable.
And I thought, wow. As a junior.
Uh-huh.
I see your name up there.
Uh-huh.
What does that mean to you?
Well, it means a lot to me because ever since I was really young, and you know, your son I was only 2 years old, but I remember growing up of going to practice and one day of dreaming to put the Spanish Fork uniform on, and I did whatever I could, especially once I got in 9th grade, to put on that uniform and to try to be as best as I could and outwork anybody to get there, because I wasn't blessed with the most talent, but I'm a true example of what hard work can do. Wasn't blessed physically, but I was blessed with some ability mixed in with hard work, and luckily enough get my 4 years of college education paid for because I was halfway decent baseball player. But the memories of my dad teaching me work and a work ethic, and if you want to do something, then you better work for it. That's what really transcends in my mind and what really helped me out.
Good stuff.
Yep. And that's why I always tell people, I teach Sunday school at the county jail, and I'm always telling them guys to bring their A game, not A minus or B plus. You bring your A game, guys, and if somebody tells you that you can't do it, what do you tell them?
You can do it if you just freaking work for it.
Key word, 4-letter word.
Work.
Starting with a W, work.
Yep.
So any of you people that watch your show, if there's somebody out there telling you that you're a loser, you'll never amount to anything, what do you tell them, Gub?
Hey, go work for something and prove somebody wrong.
Yes.
Yep.
That's the way I look at it.
Yep.
Totally.
And one thing with that too is, you know, my dad was the head coach, so I felt like I had a lot of pressure to perform, and that really motivated me to work harder, because I know some people thought I was only playing because my dad was the coach, and I wanted to prove those guys wrong. That was a bunch of BS. I belonged out there on the field, and you know, having those kind of awards kind of proves that a little bit.
Yep. So guys, don't let anybody tell you you can't amount to anything. Right?
That is correct.
Right, Rob?
Heck yeah.
Yep.
I was watching the news the other night, and there's a thing about loneliness. They're around people, but they still feel lonely. They attribute it to pre-pandemic, being locked down and all that. So get out of your house, get some vitamin D, and live your life. Right?
Absolutely, just like the song says.
Yeah.
Yep. Live life.
Live life. So guys, we sure hope you enjoy our show. We've had some great guests. Gub is one of them. Comes from a great family. I coached his dad in Pony League. Yeah. So we love and appreciate the Nelsons.
Well, appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks,
it's a pleasure.
Man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
Coach.
Thank you.
Cruising through town in your daddy's car with the top pulled down, looking so cool. We came from different sides of the track, but we still held hands out back of the old school. We spent all our time together, laughing and having fun. We swore that we'd love forever, 'cause that was the way things were done at the old school. We both made it to our graduation. You chose a college, I chose a vocation, driving 18 wheels. I became a part of your past. You went and married some guy in your class. He was a big deal. Your picture was in all the papers. You made such a lovely bride. They said you were going places, but me, I just went for a ride down by the old stool.